Joe the Auto Guy here today to show you how to replace quick struts on your 1999 to 2005 Pontiac Grand Am. First step on the quick strut replacement is to get the car securely placed on jack stands and remove the wheel. And then you remove the wheel. Sometimes they're a little rusted on there. But easy enough to replace or get off. Okay, so the next thing we're going for is these two 18mm nuts. And these studs are splined in, so sometimes they may turn, but you need to get the nuts off to pound the bolts out. Okay, and this impact can remove these. No problem. Lightweight enough to hold it down. Easily gets those off. Almost no effort on those. Okay, and so now we need to get these studs mounted out. So what I actually do is I kind of thread the nuts on just a little bit so you don't damage the threads, just to the point. So you don't really need to take them all the way off yet. But you're going to thread it on. A hammer. And you can see, now that they're partially free, we can take the nuts off. Sometimes you pound them down tight. Remove that. So once the splines are out, obviously you're relieving pressure from the suspension. So you're just going to want to try to wiggle it out. If you can't wiggle out, you can't wiggle it out. Small chisel or punch will usually get it from the other side, no problem. If that is not working, you will have to put a punch through the side. Okay, we'll just take our punch. Make sure there's not too much pressure on it. And pound that stud out. Same with the bottom one. Okay, now you can see that the strut is mainly free. Make sure that you're free. Don't stretch too far on your brake hose that's right here, but you can see now the strut is free. So you can just go like that. Now, the spring is broken, but there's two 13mm bolts up there. That is what we need to remove. So we're going to take our impact, undo it. Along with the other one, thing you need to remove is that 13mm nut on that stud. After you do that, the strut will be free. Okay, and now the strut is loose. Take it out. You're just gonna let it fall in between the suspension. Come straight down with it, and then and out. Okay, again, to get the strut in place, to slide it through this way, downward, past the fender. Before you tighten it all the way down, make sure the other bolt is in place. And if you're going even, you don't have to go in the trunk yet, you can get. So now what we're going to do is get the strut back in place. Okay, so with the new strut in place, put a small jack underneath just to get it up a little bit out of your way, and start tapping the bolts back through. Once you got threads exposed, you're good on that side. Okay, on this one we have rear brake drum, so I'm able to put the jack on the outside of the drum to position the suspension up, and this realigns the strut with the upper mounting bolt hole. If you have rotors, you can do the same thing, but I recommend taking the rotor off and doing it directly to the hub. So we're just going to get a little bit further. And you'll notice your hole starts to realign up. Too far. Kind of use a punch to realign it up. You can kind of hold it and stab it through. Then just take a hammer, get those splines started. And on this strut there is no camber adjustment. The holes are just right to what they are. Some aftermarket struts might have a slotted underside, able to pivot it back and forth to adjust the alignment. In those cases, you can get it close, mark it. If you drive it and it starts giving it a pull, I would recommend an alignment. These ones, we don't have to worry about it. We're just going to take our impact, retighten the bolt. Okay, and now that that is done, always be sure with the hand tool to give them a snug to make sure they're in place correctly. And that was the bottom side of the strut in place. Now we just got to retighten everything up top. You'll need a, if I didn't mention it before, you'll need a 13mm deep well ratchet. Alright, and then just put the carpet back up in place and your strut is installed. Now another thing is, you notice the ride height is actually sitting quite high with the new struts in place, and this is pretty normal. You actually need to drive the car for a little bit to make the suspension settle down. It won't be this high. It's going to be obviously higher than it was before if you have weak struts, or in this case we had broken struts, but it will drop down to about probably like right here. It just needs to settle. You need to, you know, give it a couple bumps and a road test, and you'll see that it settles down. Yeah, I'm Joe the Auto Guy. Thanks for watching this video. Hope it helped you. Please like and subscribe. You can also find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Google+, and my email's down below.